Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Sidelines with Hagan and Hunter. Seth Hagan with you right here, Hunter Price alongside me. And with week 5 now in the books, we look ahead to week 6, but let's recap another great week in college football. Some incredible finishes. Of course, the finish of the week and perhaps the season to date, Tennessee, Georgia with an ending for the ages. And I was not able to watch that live, but having now watched it multiple times online, and ESPN and whatnot. Boy, it was incredible. They both blew it in like the last minute. They both blew it. But it was, but up until that point, it had been such a competitive game. If you don't count like the first 20 minutes where Georgia was just throttling Tennessee, and Tennessee once again, another second half comeback, keeping their season alive and proving to people that maybe you don't need to bet against this Tennessee team. This Tennessee team may just be different, but we'll hold off on that until they play the Aggies this upcoming week, because that, to me, is the true test.
It really is. Be a 5-0 versus 5-0 matchup. It's really this weekend is going to determine just looking at the matchups, it's going to determine a lot. It's going to kind of tell us where we're at in the SEC finally. Yeah. With these games that we have coming up: Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU at Florida, Tennessee at Texas A&M, Alabama at Arkansas. Yep. Those are great games.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It just gets better from here, really. I mean, we are in October. The weekend fell right on October, so that was pretty cool. And we're just going to keep the magic going, baby.
Fall is in the air.
Yeah, it's officially going to be chilly outside when we walk outside, and I love it. I've been wanting to keep my sleeves rolled down for quite some time. Everybody check out my sleeves. You see them? They're awesome. I never wear them anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that Tennessee-Georgia game, because the highlights from that game is simply incredible. Including that last one. We got to take a look at that, because that snag by Juwan Jennings, it couldn't have been more perfect. I mean, he high pointed the ball perfectly, and it was a thing of beauty.
He didn't high point the ball at all.
I feel like he did.
No, he caught it on the ground.
No.
The ball fell straight through.
No, what do you mean fell straight through?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Well, I mean,
Watch it right here.
This isn't the last one. We're gonna see a few things before that one, but
we'll discuss it when it comes up.
But I feel like he got up, he jumped before everybody else. Everybody jumped after him, and he ends up snagging it in front of all of them.
We're gonna see it here in a second. I thought it was interesting. Time of possession. Tennessee just got whipped in this game in time of possession. First quarter, time of possession. Tennessee only had 4 minutes and 11 seconds
without Nick Chubb. Yeah. Nick Chubb had 1 carry for 3 yards, and they took him out.
And the second quarter wasn't much better, only 6 minutes in the second quarter. They got whipped by Georgia in time of possession, and you see that as one of the factors in why Georgia was able to maintain that lead and win the game.
Right.
Georgia, time of possession for Georgia, 36 minutes and 7 seconds. To Tennessee, 23 minutes and 53 seconds.
That's a credit to Tennessee's ability to score quickly. But Georgia obviously looking to eke things out. But again, not having Nick Chubb and remaining competitive, and that's now 2 weeks in a row that Tennessee has caught a lucky little strike there, because you don't have Jack Del Rio 1 week with Florida. Now you take that up another notch with Nick Chubb, a preseason Heisman candidate, being out pretty much the entire game. You don't even have to face him as a defense.
He ran the ball once. Why'd you even put him in the game?
Just to try it, man. It's a big game. I mean, that was Georgia's season. Now they have 2 SEC losses. It's
1 of 10 for 3 yards. What was it that you couldn't keep running them?
I don't know. I mean, it was working for the other guys, but I mean, you have to try with your best guy. You have to try with your best guy.
They tried
give yourself
once.
the best chance to win.
They tried once. If he's not healthy to go, he's not healthy to go. You don't send him out there for one play. If you're going to send him out, there,
Kirby's doing stuff that's not normal because he's desperate.
I mean, but if you're going to send him out there, send him out. You don't have to send him out there as a full-time running back, but if you're going to play him, play him.
Right. I hear you. everybody, make sure you hit the phone lines if you want to get your opinions in on the games that we're talking about and even the games that we're not talking about. 888-242-8517 is the number to call to get you in here in the studio with us. That Tennessee-Georgia game, man, I can't stop talking about it because it was just so good, so compelling. I thought I had made a bet and I thought I had lost it there for a second. And I was so confused because all we had, folks, we were both on the sidelines at Bryant Denny in Tuscaloosa. And, if we're ever around, we're going to start taking pictures about where we are and whatnot. So if you're ever at the games, holler at us. We would love to talk to y'all and talk with our fans and just talk some football with you. But we, like I said, we were up in Bryant Denny, and it's like they're not showing the highlights on the scoreboards like Auburn sometimes does. And so all you have are the rolling, basically, Sports Center bottom line. And I believe Tennessee was up 27-24, was it? Or 28?
It was 20. Tennessee was up 27-24. Uh-huh. Georgia scored a touchdown.
Yeah, which made it.
Well, actually, Tennessee was down 24-20. Recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown.
Okay.
Went up 27-24. Georgia turns around, scores with 10 seconds left to go up
31-27.
Yep, 31-27, and then the Hail Mary at the end of the game.
Incredible. Just boggles the mind. But like I said, I thought I had lost it, and I looked back up, and I thought like the scoreboard had like an error or something like that because I saw that Tennessee had won the game. Mm-hmm. Because I found out from a friend who was watching the game on his phone that Georgia had scored a touchdown at the last second. So I was like, okay, the game's over. But then I saw that Tennessee had the top score, and I didn't see the past couple scores, so it was confusing. But what a game and what a finish!
Yeah, it really was. But it wasn't the only games in the SEC.
It was not.
Like you said, we were at Alabama, Kentucky. Really, just
that was a boring one.
It was
really boring. But you said it would be closer than the people would predict.
Might
have somebody wanting to talk about it now.
Yeah, let's go to the phone line.
Yeah, let's go do that.
Caller, go ahead.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Going good.
We got East Coast Joe on the phone.
Yeah, it's East Coast Joe.
How we doing today?
Hey, my main comment is going to sound real old school, but Georgia deserved to lose the game on the basis of two things. One, the excessive celebration or whatever it was, unsportsmanlike conduct that was
they really did themselves in there.
And then also, we cannot for the life of us figure out why Georgia kicked off to the top returner or kickoff returner in the nation, perhaps.
Yeah, didn't they high kick that last kick?
I'm not sure if they high kicked it, but it was kicked straight to what's the kid's name, Barry. So I don't know yet why that occurred. So it was just, I'm sure what happened is that Georgia was celebrating already.
So what?
They'd already thought they had it in hand, thought that Tennessee was going to roll over. Well, those two things, the bonehead coaching move and then the excessive celebration penalty or whatever, allowed Tennessee to get up to their own 45.
Okay, so there was an excessive celebration on top of the kick return.
On top of the kick.
And then there was.
They kicked off at the 20. That's why they kicked off the 20. That puts Josh Dobbs within range to be able to throw.
Yeah, because it was just like a 43-yard.
It would actually reach the end zone.
Yeah, it was a pretty short Hail Mary as far as those things go.
The game would have been over. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense now because I'd heard about them. Folks saying, "Why is Kirby Smart? Why did he choose to high kick it?" Makes sense now if you're at the 20, because your coverage team has so much more time, more field they have to cover.
Right. Yeah.
Go and kick it and get your coverage down there so he doesn't get a return as far. But at the same time, you run a lot more time off the clock if you just try and knock the crap out of it and send it down there.
Yeah. Or just, these guys kick it out of the end zone. So, I mean, you should be able to at least reach the end zone and make them think twice about returning that thing.
Yeah.
And just keeping it at the 25.
That's only if you've got whether there's no penalty.
Right. Yeah, they kicked off from the 20.
Penalty, all of a sudden you got to squib it or do something to keep it away from Barry.
Yeah, you really should have really should have squibbed it there. Oh my gosh.
There's the issue. I think Georgia had already in their mind, they were already in the locker room, and they were celebrating. And it's kind of like LSU not getting their playoff a week ago,
right? And
celebrating after the TD that was nullified.
Mm-hmm.
You really got kids that, and this is going to be the old school in me, but what I'm saying is, like the old Cheech and Chong routine one time. Discipline's getting pretty lax around here.
You're exactly right. Guys these days and athletes, they have a very short retention span,
and they live in the moment.
They live in the moment. They don't think ahead.
Yep.
And to me, looking at our analytic rankings, Tennessee was projected to win, and about how it happened based off our formula. But it was just.
But Georgia, I mean, it would have worked out because Georgia was at home. They had the home field advantage in that game.
Yeah, the formula
formula
still would have worked out based off the home field advantage.
Yep.
But yeah, that would have been a key factor injury. And we'll get into that here in a minute about our analytic rankings that we have now with On the Sidelines. But what was your take on the rest of the week before we go to the commercial break?
Well, I mean, happy that Auburn did what they were supposed to do. I think that they it just may be a bit of a surprise Saturday, and I don't mean upset in Starkville. I mean, we may just take care of business and beat Mississippi State handily. Because the problem we've had the last few years where Mississippi State has won, the defense has been awful.
Yes.
And the defense is no longer awful.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we can score 2-3 touchdowns, maybe 6 more field goals, I think we may end up winning that game handily. Yeah,
you combine the fact that the Cowboys' star quarterback is not going to walk through the door for Dan Mullen's team.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's interesting based off our formula. Auburn is ranked 5th in the SEC with a score of 7.07. Mississippi State is actually at 2-2 and losing to South Alabama. They are actually ranked 6th behind Auburn at a 7.14 rating.
Yeah, one of the top. It's going to be a matchup of teams who can really run the ball, and I think the team who gets the most time of possession will win the football game. And like you said, caller, I mean, if Auburn has the best defense, I certainly believe that they will hold that ball longer.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, we got to.
So the formula does not take South Alabama into account.
It does. What the formula does not take into account is win-loss and strength of schedule. Because, in my opinion, strength of schedule cannot truly be judged till the end of the season. So it does not take in win-loss or strength of schedule. It strictly takes in team rankings and that where their teams are ranked in the SEC based off of statistical categories, strict math. No human opinion put into it at all.
Yep. It's like a robot.
Bruce again, your best asset is a crystal ball.
That's right.
No doubt.
Well, East Coast Joe, have a good weekend. We look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you.
Y'all too, guys. We'll see you later.
See ya.
All right. Okay, everybody, hit the phone lines just like East Coast Joe, 888-242-8517. We get to the rest of the SEC and your top 25 coming up next. Stick around.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
This is Tyler Herron at Carl Cannon Chevrolet, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC. Did you see behind me? I got one of our Z71 Chevrolet Silverados. We have many like it. This is actually a Tuscany truck. It has a lift kit and the aftermarket wheels and tires. We are a Tuscany dealer. Come down and see us in Jasper, Alabama, and Carl Cannon Boulevard off exit 65, or you can give us a call at 205-384-5561.
Other dealers can't? Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Every day, students at Bevel State Community College tell their own stories.
They tell them through the accomplishments they achieve, the choices they make for career success, and through recommendations they share with friends. With 5 locations serving 7 counties and tuition lower than other colleges, now is the time to start writing your own success story. Your story starts at Bevel State.
Ready to Work Trucks in Summerton is just that. The place to go from anywhere in the country to find good used trucks for any need. Brian and Robert Harlan and their staff will assist you with financing and delivery. Brian is a 3-time National Truck Salesman of the Year and a 5-time Kenworth Walk-Around Champion with 30 years experience. Ready to Work Trucks, more than just a slogan, a business guarantee.
When you buy a truck from Ready to Work Trucks, everything works. All lights, all gauges, all switches, brakes are good. You can go anywhere in the country or on the internet and you can buy you a used truck and it's ready for you to go home and work on it. Or you can come to Ready to Work Trucks where everything on our trucks work and the horn blows, the brakes work, the tires are good, the kingpins are good. Hey, come visit us on Old 78 Highway in Summerton, Alabama, small town, big business. Come see us. We'll see that Ready to Work Trucks is more than our slogan, it's our business guarantee.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to On the Sidelines. Hagan and Hunter, we're here with you. Make sure you hit that phone line to call in about your week in college football, whichever team that you're rooting for, NFL, whichever you want to throw out at us. 888-242-8517 is the way to go if you want to reach us. Now let's keep on going with our SEC recap. The LSU Tigers took on the Missouri Tigers, and I mean, just absolutely wiped the floor with them. Fournette, no Les Miles, no problem. 42-7 there in Baton Rouge, and really responded with vigor and gave their coach a win right off the bat. Who needs
Leonard Fournette when you have Darius Guice?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy.
Him and Darrell Williams as well. The freshman, 21 carries, $130 and 3 touchdowns to match Geis's 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, this game was an absolute joke from the get-go.
Yeah.
I kind of thought this would be the way the game would go. My goodness.
You got the gas.
I just thought LSU would really get up with this game. Ed Orgeron, everything that's gone on this past week. And you saw that. I mean, you look at the stats. LSU, 30 first downs, and Missouri's 14. 19 rushing first downs.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And all this against the SEC's leading passing offense.
Not only that.
That's incredible.
But I heard pretty interesting. LSU has been in the SEC for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
LSU had a total offensive yards of 634. 634 total offensive yards Saturday. Mm-hmm. Most ever for an LSU offense.
Against an SEC opponent or ever? Period?
I don't know if it's against an SEC opponent.
Of all time?
It is for sure against an SEC opponent. It might be all time, but it is for sure since LSU's been in the SEC, the most total yards of offense they've ever had.
That is amazing. That is amazing. That really does say something about the character of that team. They really stepped up when a lot of people were predicting upset.
I'm interested to see who's calling the offense for. I imagine it's
Damian
Craig, but has that been?
It hasn't been announced officially, unless Orgeron said something about it.
I'm pulling up the notes to the game right now. Maybe the notes to the game will say it.
Yeah. But now that the LSU running attack is like this, I really think Danny Etling can do exactly what he was always supposed to do and be a game manager. Too many times they put him in the position to try to win the game against Auburn, to win the game against other opponents, and that's simply not his role. This run attack doesn't need any help, and they proved it against Missouri, a school that is notorious for putting defensive linemen in the NFL. They're a machine over there, really, and Barry Odom does a great job.
It's actually Steve Ensminger is calling the offense at LSU now.
Really?
Remember Steve Ensminger? He actually was quarterbacks coach at Auburn for a couple of years. I don't know if you remember him.
I guess people just come around on the carousel.
Towards the end of Tupperville's reign.
Okay.
he was the quarterback coach, very respected quarterback coach and coach in general in the college football ranks.
Okay.
Really did a good job, and LSU really shut down that passing game for Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, and LSU now moves on to 3-2. They are 2-1 in the SEC. So everything really still out on the table for LSU still, despite all. Even if the voters don't seem to think so. They play Florida this upcoming week, Southern Miss, then Ole Miss, and then Alabama. Now that is a very tough stretch, even with Southern Miss thrown in there, because we both know Southern Miss beat Kentucky earlier on in the year, so they're not scared of any SEC team, even though that will be in Tiger Stadium. What do you think about their month coming up? Can they run that table? Because that's what it'll take. I think they could possibly beat Ole Miss, but I mean they would have to turn them over a good amount.
Where's it at? Where's the game
at? It's at LSU, so I like their chances.
I'm taking LSU to beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is really, with the OTS analytic rankings, Ole Miss is really ranked. They're ranked 10th in the SEC.
That's amazing. Strictly off the numbers, folks. I mean, this is statistical rankings. 10th. I mean, that should really make you think about what areas of the game Ole Miss is really deficient in. Yeah, exactly.
Defense.
And what wins in the SEC, we all know.
Defense and special teams. That's what hurts LSU. I mean, Ole Miss, and it's in depth. They don't have any depth, and you see that. They shoot out in the first quarter. They're on fire first half. But then you see them just kind of get tired, start making mistakes. Defense slows down. Defense gets worse as the second half gets into play. And you see them break down. I take LSU over Ole Miss.
No, they got to go to the Swamp next week. That's an interesting game right there, because LSU and Florida will be playing for their collective lives at that point.
It's an interesting game that it's an 11 a.m. kick.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe it is on CBS.
It's 11. That's their doubleheader.
Okay, so okay.
It's 11 a.m. It's an 11 a.m. kick. Del Rio is. I got Florida.
Tough.
I got Florida winning this game, even with their loss to Tennessee. Florida's ranked 3rd in our rankings at a 5.57.
Playing some great defense.
Score. With Del Rio coming back on top of it, I don't think Florida loses to Tennessee with Del Rio.
Okay. So LSU, I mean, this thing could end for them before they can even really get started.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they lose to Florida. They beat Ole Miss.
Okay. Couldn't glean a whole lot of stuff from Auburn's game or Arkansas's game, playing lesser opponents, obviously. Florida, though, we did see them play Vanderbilt, a very close game. It's always a close game between those two. And these two teams didn't even combine for 20 points this week. If you were looking for fireworks, you came to the wrong place. We are in October after all. But Florida ends up coming away with it. They fumbled near the goal line to even throw this game into question. But Vanderbilt's, their offense is just, it's putrid.
That quarterback, why he threw in a triple coverage like that.
Just mind-boggling moves.
Dude was double teamed with the safety over the top. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. There were 3 guys in the area. Like, that's just, especially when you're trying to come back.
You got 3 guys in the area, guess what?
The sideline is your friend.
You got somebody open.
Yeah.
Because there was no other receivers around those 3. It's just, and they were moving the ball down the field. They're making some great catches. They took the ball, and you're like, Vanderbilt's about to win this game.
Yeah.
I truly thought it. I'm like, they're going to drive down, score, and they're going to go for 2 and win it.
Yeah. And it was really incredible to watch Ralph Webb and Blasingame combine for 29 carries and 150 yards against that Gator defense. That's very tough. However, when Shermer and Freeback combined for 12 of 32 and 118 yards through the air, that's not going to get it done, even if Ralph Webb is there for you.
As their offense is, Vandy, 21 first downs to Florida's 17. Net rushing yards, Vandy, that linebacking core that everybody's been talking about.
Zach Cunningham leading the league in tackles.
That showed up, held Florida to 92 rushing yards. Florida's got to get better production in the running game. In yards per rush, Vandy, 4 yards per carry. It was if they can just get a passing game, Vandy has it there. They just got to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to for Vandy. Is they just you outgained Florida. It's one of the top offenses in the SEC. Or middle of the pack. They're middle of the pack. And But at the same time, you know this is going to be a close game. It's like no matter how good Florida is and how bad Vandy is, Florida and Vandy always
Their offenses are questionable, period.
It's
Their
like
defenses are better than average, in Florida's case, way above average.
even with Spurrier, those games were close.
Yeah.
It's just always been what it is. But at the same time, we're talking about Vandy and Florida, so let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So Ole Miss couldn't learn too much from them. That was really a revenge game against Memphis. They wanted to get in there and really whip up on them, and they did. Beat them by 3 touchdowns. It moves Ole Miss up to 14th in the rankings this week, and they're the highest-ranked 2-loss team by 8 spots. So it really shows you how much confidence both the coaches and the AP poll voters have in Ole Miss going forward. And like we said last week, it's really everything's there for them still as well. These guys can still write their own legacy in this season.
I wasn't high on Ole Miss to start.
Yep.
I'm still not high on them. And like I said, with our rankings, the rankings have them 10th in the SEC. Yeah. It's, the only teams ranked worse than Ole Miss are Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky.
Yeah, let's talk about Ole Miss's schedule coming up. They get a week to rest before Arkansas, and they're going to get Arkansas after Alabama, so I'm going to go ahead and say that's a win because teams always play horribly after Alabama, and Arkansas is going to be beat up after that, including their quarterback. They got to play LSU right after that as well.
Loss.
We both said that just a second ago, so they'll get that, and then they will get Auburn at home, and that'll be a tight game. I still feel like that's going to be a tight game. I need to see more from Auburn's secondary. They still only have 2 interceptions on the year. They are forcing fumbles. They are tackling very well and covering very well, but I'm not completely taken with them.
Well, let's look at
Love the defensive line, love the front 7.
Let's look at Auburn's passing defense real quick. Auburn's passing defense, they've only got 2 interceptions, but they're ranked 4th in the SEC.
Yeah, they're good. I'm just not completely buying in
What
yet.
else do you have to see from them? The only teams they're behind are Florida, Alabama, and South Carolina.
Well, they need to play a few more teams, is what I'm saying. They still have to play Ole Miss. They still have to play Arkansas. Those are the 2 top passing offenses in the league right now outside of Missouri.
Outside of Missouri, but the A&M, Clemson.
Well, they got beat pretty badly against A&M, and Trevor Knight was able to do what he wanted to. He didn't throw a great percentage, but he still threw for over 300 yards and ran for almost 100.
They're giving up 202.4 yards per game in passing, but the big thing, they've only given up 4 TDs, which is tied for first in the SEC.
They don't give up big plays. I do like that.
That's the thing, is they're not getting turnovers, but they're not giving up big plays.
Mm-hmm. You don't see Julio just running behind the defense.
Oh, God.
But speaking of Julio, shout out to that man, dude. You absolutely took the Panthers to school and made everybody look over at them for, letting Josh Norman go on to the Redskins. They look like fools now. So shout out to Julio, a local guy who went to Foley and turned in only the 6th 300-yard game for a receiver in NFL history. So that lets you know. Yeah, it was the first game.
They only had 1 TD.
Yeah, that crazy, right? And they scored like 40-something. But and how about his game with Matt Ryan? Matt Ryan also threw for 500. There's never been a game in the NFL where a quarterback threw for 500 and a receiver went for 300 in the same game.
I heard that.
That should let you know the Falcons look really good this year, and they're my early pick to win the division. With the Panthers faltering, and of course Cam Newton having that bad news going on concussion protocol, probably won't play next week. So that spells trouble for Carolina.
He doesn't need to play.
Yeah, no, I agree. But let's go ahead and pay some bills. We'll come back, go over the top 25, and then look ahead to week 6 coming up. Everybody stick around. More on the sidelines around the corner.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
Here at Carl Cannon Chevrolet, we offer a wide variety of vehicles. Trucks is one of our main things that we have here. We offer them that can be dinghy-towed, flat-towed, and we also have vehicles that can tow between 3,500 pounds all the way to 17,500 pounds.
So if you need a vehicle that can just take you to church on Sundays or pull the load on Mondays, we've got them all right here for you. Carl Cannon. Been here for 50 years. Come see us in Jasper.
Other dealers can't, Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Every day, students at Bevel State Community College tell their own stories. They tell them through the accomplishments they achieve, the choices they make for career success, and through recommendations they share with friends. With 5 locations serving 7 counties and tuition lower than 4-year colleges, now is the time to start writing your own success story. Your story starts at Bevel State.
From Mobile to Florence, from Auburn to Tuscaloosa, for all your commercial or private paving needs, is Alabama's premier surfacing company. 20 years experience has the equipment and personnel to handle any job anywhere in the state of Alabama. Call 205-648-3117.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to On the Sidelines. Seth Hagan with you, Hunter Price here with me and with all of us. And on the phone, we have another caller. Make sure you all hit the lines, 888-242-8517, just like this guy did. Bama Brent on the phone lines with us. Brent,
guys.
what's up, man? How'd you like this past week?
Oh, I loved it, man. It was awesome. You know, Bama came through hot and strong. And, you know, I don't even know why they showed up. Should have just gave them the trophy anyway.
Well, they
You were in the house for the Kentucky game, weren't you?
Oh, no, man. I go to the games. We're Alabama fan. They're every single game.
Did they show up in the first quarter though? Did them
Yeah,
or
they were there.
them or the fans just kind of like, we don't have to come to the Kentucky game?
Yeah.
And then the first quarter,
Well,
like,
Kentucky
wait,
fans
it's 3-0 Kentucky. Wait, we better show up.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a glorified. I felt like the fans in the stadium was like a glorified version of the Masters. Like it was just a slow clap whenever Alabama.
They were waiting on something to happen, and they were waiting for about 20 minutes before they really started getting it in.
It was a very quiet stadium.
They went a long way just to see 2 field goals.
No doubt. Kentucky's offense is simply awful. So, Brent, tell me something, man. What do you think about Arkansas next week? They've got a pretty good passing offense. What do you think about them against the Tide in Fayetteville come Saturday?
Who's that coach, the pig-looking guy?
Brett Bielema.
Brett Bielema, that guy. He's not the guy that rode on the motorcycle, right? That girl?
No,
Nope.
That's Bobby Petrino.
Okay, I didn't think so. I didn't think that guy could fit on a motorcycle.
Got him. Oh, that's good.
I think it's gonna be a good game. You know, can't say anything too fast, but Bama plays the way they play. They're gonna start out slow, and then they're just gonna turn the afterburners on. It's gonna be lights out.
Yeah, Alabama does tend to play better on the road. I've come to notice here, at least in the last few years with Saban. But yeah, Alabama did well. Were well enough on defense. Tim Williams was not there. He was suspended for the first half. That ended up being his penalty for his arrest on Thursday night.
You sure he got suspended for the first half for getting arrested for having illegal possession of a handgun and holding marijuana for Brandon Chicken?
Brandon Chicken,
who works at the Tuscaloosa Urban Spices. I mean,
oh, man.
Let's get real here. I do have some serious questions about this with Saban. And, you know, his idea is, what are these guys going to do if I let them go?
Where are they going to go?
If
they can't play football?
Good question.
Isn't that kind of racist, though? Like, you're just assuming they can't do anything with their life if they're not at Alabama.
I went to that Walk of Champions. And I saw some of those recruits. I have no idea what they're feeding those boys, but all those boys were over 6'5", 17, 18 years old.
Oh, dude, it's
massive individuals.
It's in the chicken.
We saw a sophomore Walk into when we went to lunch.
Nukes.
Yeah, walking into Nukes with a position coach. Yeah. It's like,
bend down to get
like
in.
16 years old, but he's already like 270, 6'2".
How's that comfortable?
They just sit him down at the buffet and tell him to go to work.
Oh, it's probably very comfortable. He's got all kinds of cushion.
All kinds.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Well,
seriously.
guys, I also wanted to talk about a little bit, if y'all can touch on. I'm going to get off the phone, let y'all talk about Louisville, Clemson.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's get
it. We'll do. All right, Brent, appreciate you calling in, man.
Thank y'all. Love the show. I'll call back next week.
All right, sounds good,
See
man.
you then,
Take
Bama
care.
Brent.
Thank you.
All right, Bama Brent with us on the phone there at 1-888-242-8517. That's the number to call if you want to get in just like Brent did. Let's take a little look at the top 25, and we have to start with the best game. Well, not the best game of the week. That was Georgia-Tennessee, but a close second. The game that we all thought would be the game of the week, and it did not disappoint. It did not disappoint.
Oh, no.
Just you can't top that finish for Tennessee, Georgia. But Clemson and Louisville did their best. They did their best chance to top it all, because that was an incredible game. Clemson ekes it out, though. A game where they were actually favored because they were at home. The line moved 4 points to where Louisville was actually favored by 2. And everybody was jumping on Louisville, and I thought to myself, Clemson's gonna win the game. Like, everybody was on Louisville's jock, man, and like that's never a good sign. That is never a good sign. And so Clemson, the game started out really slow. I thought it would be a lower scoring game, and that came true for the first quarter. But then Clemson absolutely exploded for 28 points in the second quarter. They were up 28-10 at the half. However, Louisville's defense came through, shut them out in the third quarter, brought it close, 28-26 at the end of the third. They actually ended up taking the lead before everything happened, and boy, what an incredible game. Looks like we've got another phone caller.
That phone line's filled up.
Let's take a look. Caller, you're live. What's up?
What you got?
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Dean, how we doing?
Oh, it's rolling. Another Monday in the bag.
You feeling as good as you were Saturday night?
No, not quite.
Can't blame you.
My buddies Tim and Jack were with me that night. So.
Your best dance moves.
Yeah,
and Bryant Denny
it's a
were from Wes Saturday night. It was
no kidding.
Absolutely, he was about 13 rows up from where I was on the field, and I look back.
Did you get on the screen?
No, I kept waving him down, going wave down. There's a big difference in that and wave down, and pointing at the camera and saying, "I'll put you on TV."
I thought you were pointing
and
at the grass.
he just waves back, just every time.
No, Dad. Hey, no.
It'd be like a commercial timeout. Everybody's sitting down, and Wes is over there, the only one standing up out of everybody in the area. Just dancing.
Got his own little two-step going.
Absolutely loved it.
I'll get to the Bama game, but I just got to say, and I really hate to have to do this, but I got to give a shout-out to Big Papi, David Ortiz. As y'all know, I'm a big Yankees fan.
Yep. No one. The Red Sox announced that no one will ever get 34.
Big Bastard finally called it quits over the weekend, and he's done a lot of damage to the Bronx Bombers over the years, but I got to give the man his respect, his props. He's a heck of a baseball player, and I'm actually going to miss playing against him.
Yeah, I mean, that was Big Papi. Really was one of the staples to that Boston Yankees rivalry for so long, and it's pretty incredible. He finishes his career with another 125-plus RBIs again.
It's like a fourth straight year to end his career.
And then
it's amazing.
How fitting is it that he hits his last at bat at Fenway is a home run to win the game?
It's storybook.
Wow.
There will be movies. Will be movies about David Ortiz.
But not only that, but one of my favorite announcers of all time called it quits this weekend.
Yeah.
Vin Scully.
Vin Scully had an incredible
one of the best
run.
of all
You gotta
time.
love Vin.
You gotta love Vin. You just the
Vin
way he could.
Scully and his love affair with Sandy Koufax.
His love affair with Sandy. His ability to tell stories without missing a beat in the story or the game. He'll just go off on anything, but call the game at the same time without missing a beat. Vin Scully is one of the best of all time. It's sad to see him go, but baseball lost two great ones this weekend.
Yeah, legends in the game, and David Ortiz will be the only person to ever wear the number 34 for Boston. It was announced earlier today.
They're retiring his number.
They will retire his number.
Good.
Effective immediately. And I mean, that doesn't happen a whole lot. So that just lets you know how big of a legend he was.
No, yeah, it really, I don't think.
That's like borderline Derek Jeter.
And you know,
Yeah.
you know, with Jeter, you knew Jeter was a legend before his final season. You know, there's certain guy, Griffey, you knew he was a legend. I don't think people realized how much of a legend David Ortiz was till this last year.
Yeah, I mean, the guy started playing for the Twins in '97.
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying, Wes? Do you kind of get what I'm saying, Wes?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you always knew he was a great player, but I don't think
He
people
was
realized.
a legend.
I don't think people realized how good of a player he was until this final year when they were like, "Wow, he's leaving," and then you see what he's done.
He was in the league 6 years before he topped 30 home runs.
Incredible.
So, I mean, you go from there, and he never dropped below 23 after that.
Incredible.
I mean, and finishing his last 4 years with 30, 35, 37, and 38 home runs, all years with over 100 RBI. Just a guy who, you know, some guys deteriorate with age, but he got better with age because he understood what it was like to study a pitcher and to know what was coming. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, that hand-eye coordination ain't what it was when you're 40 years old. But his mind was above everything else like that. And he just knew where the ball was going. And, I mean, when you get to that level, when you are a cerebral baseball player, that's when you become the most dangerous to me.
It really is. It really is. Well, we got to get to break. Wes, I know you want to talk football. Do you want to hold on to the next you want to hold on to the break?
Well, I'm fixing to walk into the steam room.
Ooh, fun.
Get
Jealous.
my weekly steam in here.
You're about to walk into the steam room.
But yeah,
I have a
I'm about to
schwitz.
walk into the
A
steam room.
schwitz.
Do you hear yourself right now?
Me and the geriatric crew are walking.
I was about to say hey to like the 7 old lawyers in there.
Yeah.
The steam room. I'm about to go get my sweat on with a bunch of.
Yeah.
But well, all right, man. What's your picks this week? Alabama, Arkansas.
Alabama by 10.
Alabama by 10. High scoring, low scoring.
That 10-point seed will come late. I think Arkansas hangs with us till the 4th, and then we space it out a little bit in the 4th quarter.
Well, I say if you win by 10, then they hang with you the whole game.
And Bama eats barbecue for dinner in Fayetteville.
Bama's eating pig for dinner.
Barbecued pig.
Here's the question. Here's the question.
Barbecue pig suey.
What happens with Auburn, Mississippi State this weekend?
I'm going to say Auburn by a touchdown.
Auburn by a touchdown. I think that's about spot on there. About spot on. Well, all right, Wes. Good hollering at you. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Thanks, man. All right, everybody. One more break and a 4th quarter to go before we pack it all in for the week. Everybody stay tuned. More on the sidelines on the other side.
Head to Carl Cannon. Their dream team makes it real easy to do business.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Carl Cannon Buick Cadillac GMC Chevrolet. My name is Joshua Salter, and would love to take this opportunity to show you the new 2016 Cadillac SRX. We've got some great promotions going on right now. Would love to help you get into a new car today. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 384-5561 or on my cell at 205-300-8364. Stop out and see us.
Other dealers can't, Cannon can.
Carl Cannon, Chevy Buick GMC Cadillac in Jasper.
Every day, students at Bevel State Community College tell their own stories. They tell them through the accomplishments they achieve, the choices they make for career success. and through recommendations they share with friends. With 5 locations serving 7 counties and tuition lower than 4-year colleges, now is the time to start writing your own success story. Your story starts at Bevel State.
Ready to Work Trucks in Summerton is just that. The place to go from anywhere in the country to find good used trucks for any need. Brian and Robert Harlan and their staff will assist you with financing and delivery. Brian is a 3-time National Truck Salesman of the Year and a 5-time Kenworth Walk-Around Champion with 30 years experience. Ready to Work Trucks, more than just a slogan, a business guarantee.
When you buy a truck from Ready to Work Trucks, everything works. All lights, all gauges, all switches, brakes are good. You can go anywhere in the country or on the internet and you can buy you a used truck and it's ready for you to go home and work on it. Or you can come to Ready to Work Trucks, where everything on our trucks work. And the horn blows, the brakes work, the tires are good, the kingpins are good. Hey, come visit us on Old 78 Highway in Summerton, Alabama, small town, big business. Come see us. We'll see that Ready to Work Trucks is more than our slogan, it's our business guarantee.
Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Sidelines. 4th quarter on deck for you right here. And in this last segment, we want to introduce our new SEC analytic power rankings. Now, these are power rankings that are devoid of any human influence, if you will. These are no opinions, no win-loss record, no perceived strength of schedule, which can kind of get murky. So this is how we did it. 14 key categories, statistical categories in the SEC. We combined them all, averaged them out throughout the 14 teams of the SEC, and came up with a little pecking order. Some of these things are a little hard to believe maybe, but it's what the numbers say. And it's surprising just how accurate these things can be. So let's break it down, starting with Alabama-Arkansas. That's going to be a pretty good game.
Well, real quick, let's go through our rankings real quick that we came up with.
Let's take a look at it.
We ranked the teams, and what we have right now with 5 groups in the SEC is what we're going to have. Is 5 every week. There'll be 5 groups. Group 1 being top tier. Group 2, good. Group 3, middle of the pack, bad, horrible. Get it?
Okay.
In Group 1, Alabama's by themselves right now with an average score of 2.64.
No, we're talking about that pretty much means they're ranked from 1 to 5 in pretty much every statistical category. And I mean, that you expect that from Alabama. They are a loaded team, and it looks like they are the best team top to bottom when you consider all the rankings that we throw into this thing.
Coming in Group 2, we have 2 teams in Group 2, and that's our second and third ranked teams. At number 2, Texas A&M with an analytic score of 5.14, and then Florida with an analytic score of 5.57, even though they lost the game to Tennessee. That doesn't matter in our analytic power rankings because we're not factoring in win-loss.
Yeah.
When you look based off of our formula would have picked Tennessee to actually win that game based off of the fact of home field advantage and key loss to injury. With Del Rio out, would have shifted the point totals in Tennessee's favor with our analytic rating. But we'll get to Tennessee in a second.
And you have to understand that most of these games are with Del Rio throwing the ball. So that's why their ranking was higher and it influenced these rankings here.
And you're going to see where Tennessee is, which is going to surprise people. In Group 3, number 4 in the SEC, Arkansas, with an analytic rating of 6.48. Number 5 is Auburn, with the OTS analytic rating of 7.7. Number 6, Mississippi State, which I'm sure it helped this weekend with their game against UMass, totaling 589 yards of total offense. But they come in with the analytic ranking of our formula with a 7.14, which is just behind Auburn at number 5. Then comes Tennessee, number 7. 5-0 Tennessee, 7.64. LSU to 7.78 at number 8. Group 4, Missouri, number 8, with an analytic score of 8. Ole Miss comes in, Missouri's number 9 with a score of 8. Ole Miss is 10th in the SEC in our rankings right now.
And when you think about why, it's not hard to find out. Their offense is very good, but their defense really starts to let up in the second half due to their depth issues.
And you look at what happened to Florida State and you start to wonder how good are they really.
Yeah.
After Ole Miss comes Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's pretty high
With
up
an analytic score of 8.71. And then right behind them is South Carolina with a score of 8.92 at number 12. And then we have Group 5, which is Vanderbilt and Kentucky by themselves. Vandy with a score of 10 and Kentucky of a score of 10.28. Looking at that, we have Alabama, Arkansas coming up. Alabama going to be on the road. On the road, that gives Arkansas, which is a 6.48. They take a point off or get home field advantage. Gives them a 5.48 score going into the game against Alabama and their 2.64 score. For me, that's not enough.
Not quite enough.
Sticking with the formula says Alabama beats Arkansas by about 10 to 14 points.
Yeah, and I would think that, at the end of the day, Alabama is a little too deep, and Arkansas is not clearly settled on their running backs. They're still kind of finding out who their bell cow is, and if that's the case.
No, their bell cow is Raleigh Williams III is their bell cow. He's second in the SEC in rushing. He's had 300.
Well, that's just because they rush so much.
They've been throwing the ball more than you think lately.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He has 3 out of the last 4 games, 100-yard rushing games. And Austin Allen is number 1 in the SEC in passing efficiency. This is a scary game for Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't see how Arkansas does it, especially when you look at what A&M did to Arkansas a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Just
Alabama, slowly
pulling away, and then it ended up being almost a blowout.
Alabama's going to go on the road and get the win 34-27.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game, so I'm thinking 27-17.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Alabama's pass defense has really struggled, and that's where Arkansas is really.
You think it's going to be a passing?
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know. I think Arkansas's defense has a lot of answers for what Alabama does offensively, and if they can really hone in on Calvin Ridley, then Alabama's in trouble because they're still. People are now saying that their best running back option is a freshman, and now your quarterback is a freshman as well. That's going to get you beat somewhere.
Eventually, it will be. It's going to be interesting though if Arkansas.
The turnover battle, I think, is key here.
That's one reason why Alabama is ranked so high. I think is their ability to score defensive and special teams touchdowns.
Starting the year out. Every game. 5 straight games now. 7 total defensive touchdowns. Mind-boggling.
Arkansas pulls the upset here if they do not allow Alabama to score a defensive touchdown.
Right.
And really just lay down when Alabama wins the play. Look at each play individually. And when Alabama wins the play, just lay down and live for another play. Don't fight.
Don't throw it into triple coverage. Don't throw it anywhere near Eddie Jackson.
Don't fight to win the play. Don't fight to win the play when Alabama's already won the play, because that's when the turnover comes, that's when the fumble comes, that's when the defensive touchdown comes.
And that's when you get beat.
And then that's when you get beat.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, in that case, but I still think Alabama does pull away slowly at the end. Austin Allen, still in his first year, I think he's going to have some growing pains when the Tide comes to town. Auburn playing against Mississippi State, noon game on the road in Starkville. The bells will be clanging. But Auburn is favored by a field goal.
Auburn's favored by a field goal in our rankings. Auburn with a 7.01 score, ranked 5th versus 6th ranked, surprisingly, Mississippi State. One of the biggest surprises in our rankings at 7.14. Based off our formula and our math, it would suggest Mississippi State would win this game because of home field advantage.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a close one.
Also factoring in 11 a.m.'s farewell for the away team takes away from the home field advantage, and I call that a scratch. And I do think Auburn pulls away probably by a field goal.
If people aren't familiar with this noon game kind of hangover, well, check this out. Think about this. The home team is chilling. They're in their own dorm room. They're where they're comfortable. The away team, on the other hand, has already left the safe confines of their campus, have been sitting in a hotel and they've had curfew as well.
They're antsy.
Exactly. And they're also the ones who have to get up a little bit earlier as well to get there to the stadium and get prepared. So mentally, that team has an advantage, and that's what we're talking about with that Saturday afternoon thing. But, yeah, I think it's going to be close. I'm going to go Auburn 27, Mississippi State 24.
That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Based
28-24, something like that, 31-27.
And let's just, before we end, let's just go and run through, based off formula, the OTS formula.
All right. LSU, Florida, also a noon game on CBS.
Florida wins.
Yeah.
Florida with the 5.7, not only that, but they have home field advantage, and they're retaining Del Rio. That really extends it from 7.78 for LSU to really down to a 4.57 for Florida when you factor in home field advantage and Del Rio coming back. I think Florida wins handily based off formula.
And you still don't know if Fournette is going to be 100%. Can Geis continue the magic for a second straight game? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. But they made mincemeat out of Missouri, and I didn't think that was going to happen either. So
Tennessee,
really
Texas
crazy.
A&M.
Tennessee, Texas A&M. Well, that's a tough one. But
formula,
according to the formula, A&M's at home. They're much higher ranked.
5.14 second in the SEC.
Yeah, and I got to think
Tennessee
that they pull
is seventh.
away.
Tennessee is ranked 7th in the SEC in our power rankings at 7.64. Being at home, it's almost a 3-point difference when you factor in home field advantage and our point scoring. A&M handles this.
How much will Tennessee be down in the first half against A&M? 21-0 again? I'm thinking it's going to happen again.
I actually think they come out and jump on A&M.
Really? And A&M's got to come back. That would be interesting.
Here's one where we have an upset in the formula with Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and it's based off of home field. Vanderbilt at Kentucky. Vanderbilt with a score of 10 versus Kentucky with a score of 10.28. Factoring in home field advantage, which subtracts, which is good, subtracting points, takes Kentucky's score of a 10.28 to a 9.28 versus Vanderbilt's 10. And Kentucky gets the win versus Vanderbilt at home at 3 p.m. Saturday.
And that may very well save Stoops' career at Kentucky because coming into this season, lost to Southern Miss, you give up 42 to New Mexico State, and you still win, but you're not looking good right now at 2-3. But if you beat Vanderbilt, I think that'll keep him there for one more year. But I still don't know if he can even get bowl eligible.
We've got one more game. Georgia, South Carolina. Georgia with a score of 8.71 at South Carolina with a ranking score of 8.92. Formula I've picked, formula shows South Carolina wins the game based off home field advantage. With that point given to them for home field advantage, it takes their score down to a 7.92. Georgia's just, I have not been impressed with Georgia. They're ranked 11th in our rankings for the SEC.
They play up and down to their competition.
In our SEC rankings, it's 11th ranked Georgia versus 12th ranked South Carolina in our SEC rankings. Yeah. And I think South Carolina pulls the upset versus Georgia.
Boy, that would be humongous. So y'all heard it here. Our SEC analytic power rankings predicting a South Carolina upset of Georgia. Let's take a look real quick at the top 25 slate, and
we don't
get
have
up out
time,
of here.
dude. We got 1 minute, man.
That's where I just want to go really quick.
We don't have time. We have 1 minute.
We will.
We don't have time.
We'll get to
We got 30 seconds, folks.
Because your kids keep talking.
Thanks for joining us.
He said we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute. Hold on. All right. So, come on, man.
We don't have time.
We'll get to it. All right. Top 10. Let's see. Alabama, Arkansas. We got that one. Houston, Navy's going to be a crazy game. I'm going to like that one. Virginia Tech, North Carolina. I think North Carolina keeps on rolling. Michigan, take them against Rutgers. They will blow them out. Everyone is crushing Rutgers this year. They're an awful, awful team. Washington, Oregon. Washington have any problem with Oregon? I don't think so.
Washington beats Oregon, especially those ugly uniforms they're going to wear.
Miami, favored to win against Florida State in Miami.
Miami.
I'm thinking Miami too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for On the Sidelines. Thank you for everybody who called in to the show. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Hunter, take us out.
Folks, use the game. Don't let the game use you. Have a good week.
Take care, everybody.